Oh my goodness, you guys. I don't even know how I hit the like button. Okay. Welcome to the Just Sarah. This is Melissa, and I am a surrogacy recruiting manager for One World Generations Surrogacy. You're going to be able to find all my information in the description below. Today, we're going to have a very sort of like spontaneous discussion. I only have a few little notes, but I can't really be looking down at them too often because I am currently live. So, yes, today we're going to be discussing what are the pros and cons of a- agencies and going through an independent surrogacy journey. Mind you, this video is going to be more aimed towards potential surrogates and to those surrogates that are planning on doing a second surrogacy journey. So we're going to begin by releasing a disclaimer. Remember, this video is only for entertainment purposes only. I have to give that kind of disclaimer because of protection, of course. You're going to be able to find this video in the playlist IVF, infertility, and surrogacy part 2. Why? Because part 2 is going to be um, targeted towards the new agency that I am representing right now as far as recruiting surrogates go. The first agency that I represented, their videos are on the IVF, infertility, and surrogacy part 2 playlist. Okay, so if you want to become a surrogate, feel free to check out the description below. It'll contain all the instructions. Now, let's get this started without further ado. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what is it that we see sometimes in the online groups. What is it that sometimes we feel pressure to do? So there are many wonderful intended parents looking for surrogates, correct? But I will never ever, no matter how many years go by, I will never ever um, foster or promote independent surrogacy. Why? Because in my opinion, there are no benefits towards the surrogate. The only benefit that there is almost complete control from the side of the intended parents. And I love intended parents, don't take me wrong. This is why I said this video is only towards um, potential surrogates. Okay, this video is no professional legal advice, no professional financial advice, no professional life coaching advice, no professional fertility advice, no professional advice whatsoever. Okay, so you as a surrogate have to be aware of certain things. First of all, a lot of the times you might be able to find in the groups that the intended parents will tell you, well, we offer a certain amount of money. Remember, this is only my opinion, this is no professional advice. They will let the potential surrogates know, okay, we have a certain amount of money in which that amount of money you will be getting more money because we're not going to be paying the agency. When it comes to that, in my opinion, that is all not that true. Why? Because surrogacy journeys in general, without an agency for an independent surrogacy itself, it may cost somewhere around $125,000, somewhere around it total. And with an agency, it may cost around $150, somewhere along those lines, right? So now the difference is only around $25,000, depending how much the agency will charge, right? So in my opinion, if an intended parent is not really prepared, and remember this video is only for entertainment purposes only, no professional advice, if they are really struggling for $25,000, then in my humble opinion, they don't really have all their ducks in a row, and neither, in my opinion, would they be prepared for an even further unexpected expense, because sometimes there are unexpected expenses that sometimes, even if you have surrogacy friendly medical insurance, may not cover. um, it just, anything that could happen, all those unexpected expenses could just keep piling up. And when you start realizing, that journey could be so much more expensive, right? Now, another thing that you have to um, think about, when you go independent, sometimes there will be some situations in which, in my opinion, you could be placed between the sword and the wall. That is in my opinion. Let's say, for example, you start talking with these intended parents that want to do an independent surrogacy journey. And again, this video is only towards potential surrogates. It's not going towards intended parents. I love intended parents. I am a surrogacy recruiting manager for OneWorld Generation Surrogacy, and if you would like to become a surrogate, please head to the description in just a little bit below, because I still have to finish this video before I add all the instructions. Okay, so when you want to become a surrogate for intended parents that want to do an independent journey, you have to be very careful, because there may be sometimes that they may encourage lowering that amount, and that might make you feel uncomfortable. And in my opinion, that's when an agency representative, whether it's a recruiter, or whether it's a case manager that is handling your case, may be able to work as a mediator, right? Because before hitting the stages of the contract, um, let's say, for example, you guys had agreed upon something, right? And then once you get to the contract, sometimes, yes, the fertility lawyer that represents you as a surrogate, yes, he is there for you, but he is paid to help draw the contract and help review everything and help make sure that everything is signed and notarized. Sometimes they don't really have that much time for that. And yes, ethically, they are there to answer all your questions and be there for you, but they can't, for example, wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to answer all of your questions and to try to get become a mediator for any discrepancies, or like I was talking about, oh, my intended parent wants to lower down the amount, and that's not what we initially had agreed upon. So that's when the agencies come through as a great advocates to speak to the intended parents and speak with the surrogate to try to make sure that they make a happy medium, and ask them, hey, why is it that you want to lower that amount, there's another situation, for example. um, let's say you have started your journey, right? Or you're wanting to start it. You want to make sure, I haven't even taken a look at my notes. Okay, you want to make sure that there is a third party escrow house account set up. An escrow account is like a bank account that is managed by lawyers from a third party. Okay, you have to make sure there is that, um, because if there is no third party escrow account, and for example, those intended parents are telling you, hey, we're offering you to pay you on your prepaid debit card, or we're offering to pay you separately somehow. That is not safe. Why is that? Because the escrow accounts offer a platform in which you and your intended parents can actually log in, right? And make sure that you see exactly where um, every single dime went to. Okay, so that means that every time your agency uploads a receipt or a bill, the third party escrow is able to analyze everything and make sure it is legit and complete. And then from there, they pull out the money. So let's say, for example, is if the intended parents tell you, oh, we're gonna pay you a certain amount, and let's say, for example, there is no threshold, meaning like there is no minimum amount set up, then that will be a problem, because then you have to go through the you have to go through the you have to try to go through the fertility lawyer that represents you, and depending on what the contract says, if there is a certain amount of time that passes where they don't comply with certain things, then something can be legally done. But in order to avoid all of that stuff, there is always the agency to help mediate, to help reach out and say, hey, there is something that is happening. We have to make sure that we are not in a breach of contract. If you are going independently and you don't have that extra caution, that extra advocacy, it can go down south quickly, and it can just be very, very difficult. Another thing is, which I have seen a lot around, for example, and I am going to interrupt really quick just to say again, I am a surrogacy recruiting manager for OneWorld Generations Surrogacy. If you would like to become a surrogate, please check the description below. I will shortly after I finish the video, I will put all the instructions on how you can become an amazing surrogate if you qualify. What you have to do is you have to click on the link that is in the description. Make sure you fill out the form. Make sure you um, meet all the requirements. After that, you're going to be receiving an email that will tell you, thank you so much for reaching out to us. Here is the link that you have to click on in order to complete your application. That application comes to me. I will review it, and then that will be passed on to the case manager, and from there we go and get your amazing journey started. Okay. Um, all right. So let's say, for example, yes, another situation. Let's say, for example, again, disclaimer, this is only for entertainment purposes only. This is not professional advice, no fertility professional advice, no professional medical advice, no professional legal advice, no professional life coaching advice, no professional fertility advice. Okay. Let's say, for example, the surrogate starts her journey independently, and the intended parents start checking out her socials, and then they start noticing that maybe she's eating a lot of, for example, this is just a story, like a fake story that I'm making up, but I see it way too much. They see her eating like cheeseburgers or something, and then the intended parents, they don't think that is healthy, and there is nothing in the contract that the surrogate agreed upon that said, hey, you can't eat cheeseburgers. This is an example. So in that case, that's a red flag, right? In that case, if you are doing an independent journey, then you have to find a way to mediate that yourself. But what happens with that? There comes the frustrations, there comes the added stress to the pregnancy, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And then you do, of course, you have to proceed with that journey, but there is intense pressure. And in my opinion, I think when you have an agency, you have that person that you can reach out to especially when that condition was not a part of the contract. And that coordinator or case manager is able to reach out to the intended parent or intended parents and tell them, hey, this is what's going on. It looks like you are reaching out to the surrogate. This is an example again, telling her, hey, why are you eating cheeseburgers? That's unhealthy for you. Um, and it's actually not in the contract, and we do not exactly think that a cheeseburger will harm the baby. So we would really understand if you feel like there is something that she is doing that is putting the baby in real risk. If there were any medical orders that said, hey, if, for example, the surrogate was diagnosed with the gestational diabetes and she had to be put on a certain diet and there were medical orders for that, then you can say something. But in any other case, the agency is there to step up and be that mediator. Okay. Or let's say, even for example, from the very beginnings, if you match with intended parents independently that have not made embryos yet, for example, if you're doing this independently, um, there may be so many things that could delay the process a lot more. They may not be cleared by the fertility clinic yet. That means psychological, social worker visits, all that kind of stuff. They may not have, if you want to work with tested embryos, which is what I recommend, those embryos may not have gone through the FDA. Those embryos may not have been tested in any kind of way. They may not have been graded. Um, so if you are not educated enough, in which the agencies are there, for you to do for you, then you might be able to say, oh, okay, so I'll wait. Oh, okay, so I'll wait for this. Oh, okay, so I'll wait for that. And then, for example, let's say, there is an illness, or let's say, for example, they are selling a house, or for example, there, somebody is waiting for anything else, and there is a longer hold and a longer hold. And then before you even have your medical paperwork pre-approved by the fertility clinic, you may have waited like 5 or 6 months or something. And then this is about your life too. Yes, you are voluntarily putting a hold in your life, but at the same time, they have to know that it is your life too, that they have to consider that. So um, it is very important that, to know that the agencies are there to, like, make sure that, um, first of all, those intended parents that sign up with an agency, they should have, of course, their embryos made. So once you join an agency, you know that all of that has been set up. But if you do it independently, and you feel like you connected emotionally with certain intended parents, and you want to wait all that time, then it'll really depends. It depends on the pace of your life. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends how much, or how long you think you want to put your life on hold before you start that journey. Okay. Um, Let me see if I left anything else. Um, yeah, I think for now, these are more or less the general pros and cons. I'm sorry. All right. If you feel like this video was valuable, interesting, feel free to help others understand. And this is not just to represent my agency. You guys know, if you're familiarized with my videos, you guys know that I do make a lot of videos that are headed. That are targeted to help intended parents, other videos that are targeted to help surrogates, and that I do not cover the sun with the palm of my hand. You guys know that. All right. So feel free to reach out to me to the email that is in the description below. Again, you're gonna be able to find this video in the playlist IVF, infertility, and surrogacy part 2. You're gonna find the link to that below. And if you want to become an amazing surrogate for us, all the information is gonna be in the description again. Thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, guys.